I have no interest once again in oil, but just to keep consistent with our normal sessions, we'll look at it really briefly. But it's quad witch, and everything's going on in the indexes again like it was yesterday. So anyway, I'm gonna start. Where the heck is it? Come on, Zoom. There we are. Okay, so we'll start on the oil screen real fast just to get context for it. But like I said, I have no interest. Top and bottom are relatively clean. It's got a bit of a bid right now above max delta. But again, when oil is a really good setup, it's really obvious from my point of view. JVC could disagree with this and Lee could disagree. But, for example, the overnight low is probably going to get hit tonight in oil, but or this on the open in oil, or, A, B, somewhere in there, I would suspect. But again, waiting for that and watching that when we're going to have quad witching in the indexes just is not a good use of time decision for me. So every trader has to do that differently, but I just want to be really clear. There may be a decent opportunity here, but again, spending a lot of attention on it doesn't make sense to me this morning. Actually, the overnight low could go, but also at the moment, this particular rotation has UB at the high, and so we could go the other way too. That's the thing. Oil could be really tradable, but it's not the low-hanging fruit right now. So having said that, we will stay over here on the indexes. If something goes really interesting over in the oil world, I'll go back to it. But anyway, I think I'm going to stay on this monitor too, because that way we can kind of watch all four fairly easily. I think what we might do as well, this is the entire session for ES. And at the moment, there's some unfinished business down there at the lows. And it's been kind of crazy if you've been watching the last few hours, between like 27 and low 30s. It's been moving around a lot in here, kind of a bulge at the lows. So once again, this is just far more interesting to me than what's going on in oil. So yeah, that Amy just here, I'm going to copy what you posted, Amy, and share it to everybody, because I totally agree with that. I am completely feeling that way today. There you go. Yeah, I had a great day yesterday trading, and I've had a couple of others recently. Been working out some math on risk management algorithms and whatnot, and it's been working out pretty well. I've gotten a lot done. So yeah, I'm not in a hurry to stick my neck out today, particularly after yesterday. Yesterday was just so beautiful. I mean, I had 5 times what I was looking for to make in the day before we even opened. It was just like, okay, I'll take it. Anyway, that comment that I just posted was from Amy, and I agree with it. Anyway, so this is a very interesting setup, but it's quad witching, and it's really important to understand how this works. There are futures options, and all of the various derivatives are all expiring today. And the thing that makes it fun is they do it at different times of the day, and most people don't realize this if they haven't studied this phenomenon. It used to be really tradable. The algorithms have made it harder to trade. It's just you have to be really fast to take advantage of some of the anomalies, but it is doable. But basically, there's certain options that expire right on the open, that they peg to the opening price, the cash price, and then there's others that expire later in the day in various ways. And it's a crazy day because of all the cross currents. In general, structure can be misleading because of that, and so it's kind of a good day to focus on price action. But given what's been going on the last couple of days in price action, we've got such a ginormous range that I just want to expand on what I mean by price action. I think is the critical way to play this. But when we get to structural extremes like that short last night or night before last, when we popped up from FOMC, those are just too good to not really interpret structurally and throw a lot of size at them, which is what I did and what I I will do today if we get similar things. I've seen that happen on witching day where we get a really clean extreme, but I haven't seen it recently. I think that most of the code that's running at large trading desks is getting pretty smart in handling these things. So anyway, that's the story on the indexes. And at the moment, we're kind of in the middle of nowhere here. Let me blow up the 30 minute. We can just look at that. So, UB at the bottom, a price rejector on the last rotation, a price rejector up at the top. This is one of those anything can happen kind of days. I would be real interested if this low actually goes aggressively, because that could be the beginning of a major league breakdown in the market. We're at a spot that really has to hold. If you look at this is the TPO view that I'm just superimposing over this. Here, let's minimize this guy. And now my TPO view disappeared. Hang on a second. Where are you? Let's see. Oh, I hate that Zoom does this. You can't preview any windows. So I have to look through a list of like 100 windows to find that one. That really annoys me. Hang on a second. Get that window back. Oh, heck, I'll just get rid of this one. Anyway, so my point is this is like hanging on by a thread here, and there's this massive, massive air pocket below us again. So, and there's a weak low right below us, right at the big fat hole number. So this is just a really, really interesting, fun setup. And, we'll see what happens, but I'm not going to be particularly aggressive. Oh, congratulations, Amy, you got another funded account. That's cool. Yeah, below 4,600, I think could get really, really, really interesting. So let's see if I can put the right show. That's that one. We don't want that. Sorry, I'm just trying to rebuild my window there, and Zoom won't preview anything. And I hate that. That's one of the things I actually liked about the switch to this Windows arrow interface was the preview. Let's see. We need 30 minute, not that one. It should be that one. No, God damn it. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second here. There it is. Okay. Jeez. All right. So watching that very, very carefully. And then if that breaks, that's the 20 area, and that's been in play for most of the week as well, then definitely want to watch big fat hole number. And if that goes, a whole lot of risk models are going to be messed up. And I think you're going to see some pretty aggressive selling. People will probably try to buy the dip too. So it could just be really interesting. Anyway, the bottom line on witching day, particularly recently, is you kind of treat it like price discovery. Again, if you get extremes, sometimes they're really tradable. It's me, of course, my style anyway, but I focus heavily on price action. Again, I might watch structure like, a structural event, the low going. Absolutely, that's something interesting. And if we start heading that way, I think that's pretty likely. But again, where does that end? There's several interesting levels below it. Again, let me just pull this over without moving the other one around. If you just kind of zoom in right here. So here's where we are at 29. Just above big fat hole number is that poor weak low. And again, if you kind of step back a bit, the next area that could hold this is, 4560-ish. And then 4500 is not even a cliff. It is jumping into a volcano if we go below that. And that's not that far away, Remember, I remember when we were talking about, God, do you think we'll get to 4,400? Yeah, that was just a few months ago. This is a crazy move we've had. Don't discount that, and there's a lot of people that have to execute strategies against the year end for taxes or for taking profits. Mutual funds have to pay out. There's all kinds of crap that's going to go on between now and the end of the year that could make this just really crazy. But most large professional traders don't trade the last week of the year or the holiday week and the following weeks, the next 2 weeks. And so today's kind of the last day, and it's a witching day. So, throw all that in, we could have some interesting action. So that's the story. If you have any questions, stick it in the chat. I'll try to address it. Otherwise, I'm just going to kind of call it as I see it. It's Inventory Discovery Day. Yes, absolutely, Tom. That's correct. So we had Maria's phone and we had Maria's walkie-talkie. Now we have Maria's expensive fruit. I don't even want to know what that is. Oh, yeah, I totally agree with that. Amy's saying a snapback of any serious pullback will be wicked. We could have some wicked moves in both directions under any circumstances. And look what happened yesterday. Wicked almost has new definitions. Take a look at the move yesterday. So, this is the FOMC day right here. Then the overnight, and then boom. I mean, talk about an FOMC reversal pattern. It doesn't get better than that. And we're accumulating volume right down here. And the point is, if we get below those recent lows, look out. Because then kind of that breaks the technical picture, as my friend Jason likes to say at Levitt Brothers. The charts are broken, and when charts are broken, the technical people have nothing. So they go to cash and they get out of the way and let the charts reset. So we could see a lot of that. Anyway, CL has rolled from F to G. That is correct. You should be on February. Thank you, Robert. If that's wrong on any of my screens, let me know, but it shouldn't be. I rolled that day before yesterday. So in anticipation, since I'm not trading it. Oh, at least not at the moment. I love it. Goldman came out with a oil's going to be 100 statement again. Whenever Goldman does this, I'm not kidding, guys. This means that Goldman's selling oil. That is what they do. I mean, they actually have a whole department that puts out news stories on the opposite of positions that they're unwinding. So every time you see that, look for a short-term drop in oil. It's pretty funny. Yeah. Oh, that's a great comment. I'm going to copy that, Tom, and post that for everybody. I love what Tom just posted. Congratulations to all the combines being passed, the ladies, and I totally agree. Women are much, much better traders than men. They're used to managing emotions better than we are. We get stupid. Women get stupid too, but they're better at it. That's a really, really good. Every woman trader that I know is a less emotional, more disciplined trader than any other man. Now, Linda Raschke is a perfect example. I mean, if you ever watch her, just listen to her, and that's why she's so good. She just totally keeps her head all the time, no matter what's going on. And and managing $1 billion funds, keeping your head, that's an important skill. I would have loved to have been a trader at the Pacific Stock Exchange when she was a floor trader there, the options exchange. From what I understand, it was a pretty funny environment. She's got a very outgoing personality if you've ever met her. And anyway, there's several ladies like that. She's just the one that I know, so she comes to mind. Okay. I have noticed coaching and teaching that women, you're absolutely right, women are better listeners and they tend to be better traders. But there's very few women that actually get attracted to the trading. It's a certain breed, I think. Yep, that's a good one too. I'm going to copy that comment too, Tom. You're on a roll. It's a man's world still. Yeah, well, old white men are trying to protect it and keep it that way, but I think it's dying, Amy. We got to get rid of the old white politicians that are controlling the world and trying to keep it in 1950. That has to change. And more women and more diversity in all levels of politics will be a beginning to that. At least we'll get more points of view instead of the old boys club. So anyway, we are, we're breaking lows now. All right, look at that right there. We just cleaned up that unfinished business almost perfectly. Not quite a price rejector, but it was pretty clean. And so, that's been happening a lot this morning. I've been seeing, that looks pretty good. If we, if that's there, at the open, I'm going to trade that. And then it gets traded before we get to the open. I've been seeing this a lot. But you can see on my 15-second views down here, these are really good for seeing aggression. When it gets really pink, the girl's color here, that's aggression. That's downside, selling aggression. And so, I'm watching that versus the price and seeing if it's getting absorbed or not out of the corner of my eye here while I'm watching my main screen. So I really like those little 15 seconds. I have them on the main screen now too, but I'm running them a little longer there, like 60 seconds, just to kind of qualify what I'm seeing on my 15-second LRCs. So you know what? We could go over to that screen now that we've seen this. Okay, you guys should be on my main screen now, and you can see the low there at ES on the far right. What we're going to do here, instead of running my wave volumes, what I was just saying a minute ago, I've set it up so that I can see baby footprints here, which gives me an idea of the aggression. And I find that's been helpful, particularly. So it's just another way of gaming the action, and it's important. I say this a lot, but you got to understand the way I use this. I'm over here on the dome on the far right. That's where my attention is, and I'm focused on the range in the 15-second LRC. This is qualifying that for me. Like right now, it's a price rejector and a price rejector on the pullback. That is information I would want to know. And I'm running these on 1 minute. And again, the purpose is just to qualify what's going on my LRC boundaries with order flow instead of just wave volume. It's a little bit more detail. If I sometimes run these at 15 seconds as well, but I've got the 15-second view again in my eye. So duplicating it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So that's why I'm running just a little longer here, just so I'm getting a sense of how a level is holding. If these are 1 minute, I'm getting 2 or 3 minutes of action and seeing the delta around it. Beyond that, bar by bar delta is not very useful. The further out you go, the less useful it is. But on 15 seconds to a minute, I find it really good at helping me qualify the edge of an LRC. Like right here, this low, you can see on the bar by bar delta on the 15-second that it held and was getting bought. But it's much clearer what was happening here. That got bought, but just barely, And so I would really be watching this level right here and then that level there. And I would be watching to see if that turns aggressively pink like that on the way down. So it's just a visualization of the order flow. I'm less concerned with the actual numbers than the pattern. And that's why I run these fast footprints. When Lee did that qualifying LRC session like a year ago or a year and a half ago, that's a way of really making an accurate understanding of what's going on at the edges of the range. But the problem with looking at it this way with just a footprint is I can't see the geometry like I'm seeing it on the one that has wave volume over here. So to me, both views are really useful. Like here we can see the aggression is picking up. This is the delta, and so it's more and more is going by on the buy side. So either it's getting absorbed right here, which looks like what's happening, 0 by 168, or it's heavy buying. And right now this is absorption right there. So that's a perfect way to spot an inflection point right on 46.25, which is no coincidence either, probably. So that's a really, really good example. Okay, anyway, so that's what we're going to do. And we got about 15 minutes, and I totally agree with what Amy said. And also, like I said, I've had a couple of days and good week. And a lot of the stuff I've been working on is finally finishing and doing what I want it to do. And so I have no intention of being aggressive. I'm totally ace-king focused here on this witching open. And we could get a really wicked great setup, in which case I will say so and I will trade it. But my default's going to be just to kind of sit on my hands and watch. What are the opportunities? I always like to think that right before the open. Well, right now, the bigger one by far. We cleaned up that UB, kind of, but a down move is definitely the opportunity. Because if 20 goes, then 4,600 is probably reachable. And then again, if 4,600 goes and then that 4580 level below it, look out, 4,500 and then more. I mean, we could have a serious correction coming. However, if you look at the overall structure of the market, the advanced decline and the winners and losers, and how many are going up or how many going, all that crap. Basically, the market deteriorated over the last week. It looks a lot worse than it did a week ago. That's my friend Jason's take over at Levitt Brothers, and I agree with that. That's if you look under the covers, that's what it looks like. But it's also a perfect setup after they finish beating up the options guys today. for a rally. It's a perfect setup for next week to rally and even into the close today. So, don't get married to the market's crashing theory here. I mean, just look at what happened on FOMC day. We were right here and we went to 47.50 in a heartbeat. And those aren't even big percentage moves is the point, up here. And so that's the opportunity. There's so much potential for movement that we get to be relatively picky where we decide to play because the potential's so good at the inflection points and the extremes that, God, last night or Thursday, not last night, the night before last, when I was trading that FOMC pop, I couldn't believe that I was getting short at 47.43 and 40. I was like, it was a gift. I mean, I put everything I could put on that because why not? I mean, we had so much supply up there. It was so obvious that couldn't hold. Here, I'll bring this over here again so we can see that. There it is right there. I mean, look at that. It just doesn't get more asymmetric than that right there. And so, that's the kind of stuff you should be looking for under these conditions. So the next one of those is right below us right here. And that's right on that big fat whole number, and it's a weak poor low. So that, but then there's a whole bunch down further, as I said. And if this level right here goes, then we're truly in correction, get short territory. I think a lot of people could get faked out and we could still have a holiday rally. So we'll trade what happens. That's my story. Let's see. Tom's posted a couple of interesting things here. Amy is a man trapped in a woman's body. Boy, that's an interesting conversation. We'll have to have some other time. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Commercial desk bonus protection mode. Absolutely. The guys on the hedge fund call are sitting on the biggest bonuses of their entire careers from this year. And so, the only thing they want to do is get home with that money. And, the way it works on Wall Street is what your bonus is going to be before the end of the year. And that's typically paid early in January. Some firms pay parts of it or loan it in December for tax reasons. And, so this is Matt. If you've never worked with any people that are true Wall Street diehards, I can't explain how important this is. A big trader on Wall Street might have a $500,000 salary, but his potential bonus might be 50 million. Okay. Everything is about the bonuses, and they protect them viciously at the end of the year, as well they should, because, that's it. So would you stick your neck out if that was your situation? No, you wouldn't. But you also don't want to be caught wrong-footed because, then you look crappy to your peers. So, that's the psychology where we're at right now. All right. Having said that, if you guys have any questions, stick them in the chat. They come directly to the hosts only in this format, so I will repost them or comment on them as is appropriate. JVC, I'm gonna go get something coffee-like. I'm not sure what yet, and run my stairs. So I will be back, but it might be a minute or two. Right now it is 6:18. So I'll probably get verbal again in the 6:20, 6:25 area, right about before the open. And remember, again, something I said a little while ago at the opening, top of the session, options and futures and options on futures and options on stocks, they all expire at different times of the day today. The first batch pegs to the cash open. So look to see a huge shimmy right before the cash open because people are, trying to get that number, and it's very interesting to see what that number is and then how we trade around it. So watch the opening number. Does anybody know Max Payne for today? I haven't even looked, but I'm sure that all the guys that on FOMC day got long and had calls that just got 47.50. I mean, totally worthless in one day. And it's mind-boggling how every time there's an FOMC, that they do that, and people still get caught over and over again. So anyway, let's. I don't see anybody post. I'm gonna just Google and see if I can find it quickly. But if anybody finds it faster, let me know what it is. Let's see, Max Payne. The Twitter one is saying it is. He's running them for a bunch of other numbers. I don't care about Microsoft. What is it for the SP? Here it is. Okay, it looks like is that right? No, that can't be right. Oh, I'm not finding a number that seems to be credible. Does anybody know what it is right now? Nobody's responding. Okay. I'll keep trying. All I'm getting is sites with ads on them. I'm not finding a good. There used to be a really good guy that always had just a clean site with the number and nothing else. I can't find him. Let me ask your overpriced calculator. Yes, please do, Maria. I thought Amy would know what it is. Amy, are you still here? Okay, let's see. I found one. All right, this guy is saying Max Payne is 454. Okay, so that's interesting. Wow. That is really interesting because that's real far away from here. Huh. If anybody finds another number, let me know. That's what this one site that I have that looks like it's a reasonable calculation. Okay, so we have the, let's look at oil real quick while we're waiting for the open, see if it did do what I thought. No, it didn't do anything. Look at that. Wow. Uh, God, A period in oil is absolutely dead. Are you trading it, JVC?
I'm not now. I gave up. I'm done. I'm waiting for B period.
Yeah, I'm why it's doing absolutely nothing. It's
Yep.
just, yeah. Okay.
And annoying.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't bother spending any mental energy on it. So, since you're not doing anything else at the moment, do you have any idea what Max Payne is? I just found what look 4554 was a number on one side. I don't. His calculation looked right, but I don't know the guy, so I don't know if that's.
I always end up at is this the one? MaximumPain.com? Is this no, this is not.
There's one that's really simple with just the number and no. Yeah, where is that? Couldn't find it.
Swaggy Stocks, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the guy. Okay, 4350. That's what Amy's seeing too. Wow. So from 4540 down to 4350 are the ones I'm seeing. So what's he saying, JBC? That one.
Swaggy?
Yeah.
Hold on. He is saying, where's the number? Where's the actual bloody number? Max Payne, do I have to? Oh, I have to, I guess, hit a button or something. No?
Well, you have to put in whatever instrument, and you need it to.
Yeah, it defaults to SPY.
Yeah, that's what it should. Yeah, that's SPX basically.
Yeah, but it's not spitting out the number. That's weird.
All right, I'm gonna go see if anybody's got it on Twitter. Usually, that's.
I mean, I can see. I can just look at his little graph, and it's like 444.
Yeah, that's the one
there it is, 454. Sorry,
right.
That's the number.
Okay, that's the one I saw, 454. So, yeah, Amy said 435, and I saw that on one of the sites too.
All depends on how you run the math.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at a couple of the guys that run it on Twitter. Yeah, it looks like everyone. Yeah, the consensus seems to be around mid 45s. Wow. So that's another 100 points down from here. This could be a really interesting open. This could be a lot of fun. Anyway. All right. Well, I'm going to go get some fresh coffee. Maybe you guys do the same and a little water and we'll slash my face, run my stairs. I will be back in a couple of minutes for the actual open, which is in, call it 5 minutes. So be right back. All righty. I am back. Let's see. Let's put up the 30 on my main screen. Also, it's not that one. Let's be that one. Yeah, that way we can watch the bottom of the range. And see how this plays out. So we've got 1 minute footprints for NQ and ES, and then the 30 for ES, and then we can watch everything else on the domes on the 15 seconds. So this is my default view for trading now, by the way, on my main screen. And then I have those little fast footprints and daily structure and stuff to the left, all the context. I really like it. You're buying puts. That's interesting. I was looking at that. I just haven't had enough energy to trade options, Amy, but it seems the guys that wrote options up on that push up for FOMC, one of my friends was doing that. He was selling into that, and God, he made so much money. I mean, yeah, they might not expire worthless. Yeah, if we go back up to 75.40, but it's really unlikely. Yeah, he did really well. I wish I had the energy while that was happening and then be set up to do that. Because he was literally just collecting premium. It was so beautiful. Oh, well. So Jack's saying 4,700 on one site. That's interesting. Yeah, it wouldn't be where the most open interest is, Jack. It's a little more complicated than that. That is 4,750, and that's what I'm talking about. Those are the people that my friend sold to. He made a fortune up there. So, yeah, I really unlikely we revisit 4,750. I don't even think we get through 4,700 with this action. I think we're gonna test the other direction, but you never know. All right, so let's see how this goes. Got a couple more minutes. Always fun and games. Yes, watch CES keeps threatening to take out the low, and I wouldn't be shocked if it does. So. YM is also right at its low. So got about 2 minutes, I think, here, minute and a half. I'll reset the volume profiles here. All right, there's my 1 minute warning. So now there's UB again at the low on the previous rotation. This looks like it wants to go down more, really does. But you never know. Remember, there's a pegging right at the open. That's the first expiration pegging. What's the cash open? So wherever it's going to be right around here. So. And you could see a little shenanigans right beforehand, and we're already seeing a little bit of that. And there goes the lows on YM. There goes the low on EM. No, yes, hell, barely. YM took it out. I can recenter or reset these from my mouse. So every now and then you're seeing me do that. Like when I do that, I recenter them. I'm doing that from a mouse shortcut. And then if I want to reset the trading volume, I can do that too. Start the little footprints over. Okay, here we go. So they're pegging right here. 25 is the peg. So let's see what happens from there. Wow, serious price discovery. Look at this. It might go up. Huh, wouldn't that be funny? We got a decent gap to fill here. Let's see. We are down in the ES 38 points. So half a gap fill is 15 up from here. That wouldn't shock me at all. Yeah, Amy just said looking for a cheeky long. I wouldn't shock me either if we had a little long. Remember, this is the perfect environment after you flesh out all the option holders to do a holiday rally. This today, Sunday, into next week. Why not? But remember what we said, bonus protection. That's the algorithm that they're running on Wall Street next week. So again, this looks like a long here, but I don't want to get in front of it and give it all the risk it's going to take to get long. But if it settles down a bit here, we might actually go for it. I think the B to A might be the best trade of the day to try to do today, because we'll have a lot more information at the top of the hour as to what's going on than we do right now. Like this looks like a price rejector long, but it ain't over yet. So if it came down there and retested that area, that would be interesting. Look where the overnight low is at 2050. We're just above that. Again, I think B, this is a look at this absorption right here at the top of the rotation, 233 contracts. So, and that was right at 30 where that happened. So we have clean boundaries of the range, 30 and 25. And I want to see B period start before I stick my neck into this. Again, we're totally focusing on ace king today. If we don't get a really good setup, I am not going to take it. There's just no reason. I mean, don't try to make your whole week. I have a great week. Don't give it back on Friday, right? Particularly, Witching Friday. It's like FOMC. I look at it primarily as entertainment, but the FOMC created the trading opportunity of the year with that run up to 47.50. So we could see something like that happen with witching. Extremes create extreme opportunity to both make and lose money, of course. But anyway, yeah. See, this push down is pretty aggressive. That's why I don't want to be long yet. I'd like to see the other end of the range hold, maybe take out this price rejector, maybe test the low of the overnight right there at 20. But right here again, it's just thinking in bets. It's too hard to put a bet on which way this is going to go. I like it long, but I think it's not done going down. So it doesn't feel like the bottom's going to fall out and we're going to get the big crash. Does not feel like that. I usually don't look at internals this early, but just FYI, the advanced decline is pretty negative at the open, which again doesn't surprise me. It's down there at minus 1300. So, that's not necessarily significant as much as how it changes as the day unfolds. That's what's significant in those types of things like internals. If that starts improving and I'm thinking about a long, then those two things go together. If I'm thinking about a long up here and that is not improving, then it's probably more like a fade and a short up here, not a long. So, and right now it's just two directional. It's if I was playing anything, I'd be playing long, but there's no reason to be risky long here at 30. It's not a particularly good inflection point. It does have a whole lot of nothingness and volume above us. So if we can get in there, joining it long makes an interesting trade. But it's sweeping down too much right now to do that. Well, 32 holds, maybe nibble. Nope. See, then 30 goes. That's the problem. If you're going to do this long, where are you going to do it from? It's got to be somewhere down toward the other end of the range to have any decent risk reward. Maybe right here in the middle. That's another spot that might be interesting. Let's watch it. If this can hold right here, again, it might be nibbleable, but YM still wants to go lower. It says low, so is RTY. Yeah, no, I'm not interested yet. I want this to quiet down a bit. Otherwise, it's going to take too much heat. Even in micros, it's going to take too much heat to try to trade it. There's just not a good reason. Look at the sweeps over here in NQ. That's pretty aggressive both ways. That's price discovery. It's not establishing any sort of range. In other words, here, if you look at it's trying to go up, but well, let's watch that. That's very interesting. Let's watch NQ. It could end up leading. Remember, it was the one that was the most down. So, and there it comes back. Yeah, that is really wicky inside there, and that's very difficult to trade. So we'll let it settle a bit. There goes YM is about to break low, and it did, and RTY. So that should be a drag on the others, but we have a price rejector in ES. So take your bets. Very sweepy, yes, Amy. I totally agree. Yeah, it's not a long, it's not a short right now. I don't think it's anything until it quiets down. I think this is just price discovery and sweeps. Lots of big traders putting on unwinding positions, more unwinding than putting on maybe, but yeah, look at this. We just had an attempt to hold 25 and it swept to 23 in a heartbeat, and and now it's back up to 24 and a half. So yeah, we'll let this settle. I'll be right back. I forgot I made coffee and left it in the other room, which I'm notorious for doing. Of course, now it's cold coffee, so we'll start over.
Did you happen to see that sweep down right as you were walking away?
Oh, no, I missed it. Shit, look
It
at
was
that.
like as you were about to take your headset off, it just went
Yeah.
splat.
Boom. Wow. Look at that. And I was running my stairs.
Mm.
All right. So again, I wouldn't just be short here because it's sweepy, but this could get very interesting to the short side. Very tempted to micro it, but it's a little bit, yeah, let's see if we can find a good inflection point here and join this short. Got what, 15 maybe, 20, 17 and a half. Put one there.
Got those zero prints it left behind up at 21 and a half.
Yeah,
22.
right there. Yep, I see those. And what's going on at the lows? God, I hate Sierra. You can't even see it. What is it? I don't even know what it is centering on. It's centering on the
it
pullback.
centers the entire bar, which is either a session or a 30-minute or whatever.
No, it's centering on the pullback. Wait a minute. Here, look. I had. It's so weird.
I don't have your screen up big enough to be able to see it.
Yeah, no, it's centering on the pullback is what it's doing, which is at the bottom of the screen, and I can't. It does that all the time. I don't know, it's just no way to make it work properly. And you can compress it together real tight, and then you can see it, but then you can't read the numbers.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I don't get why they don't fix that. There's got to be a way to fix that.
Well, if it's centering on the pullback, it's probably because it considers the pullback the last bar.
Right, exactly.
So it's centering on the last bar.
And that bar happens to be at the bottom of the screen where you can't read it.
Right.
Yeah. There ought to be a center on the whole chart, which is basically
center on price.
Yeah, that's what Ninja does, and you can also tell it not to if you want to, but
yeah.
It's real. Yeah, most platforms do it that way, and it's efficient and it's easy and it makes sense. This makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the feedback on their support and whatnot. It's supposed to be that way. I mean, at least
as designed.
At least 15 questions I've seen have been answered that way. No, that's working the way we. When that made no sense whatsoever.
Yep. Then perhaps your design is bad.
Yeah, that's right. Well, look at this. Wow. So it's really attacking 10. But again, I'm just so hesitant to be short. You could get swept really badly. So you can see I've got some orders up there at the zero prints, under the zero prints, 17, 15, and 20. And the zero prints are at 22. And that's also right at the bottom of the breakdown. So I don't think it's going to get anywhere near there, to be honest with you. But if it does, I'll definitely nibble short. Why not? But down here, yeah, look at these sweeps. It just swept from 9 to 11 and back in 500 milliseconds. Because that's what my refresh rate here is on the momentum tails. Yeah, I don't want this one at 17. It could blow through there. If I'm going to enter this, I'll wait till I actually see an inflection point. I'm not going to try to predict one. That's a very important point in volatility. Normally, when I'm trading, I have inflection points, that I'm watching, like the overnight low or the overnight high or whatever. But when it's this kind of craziness, I don't do that. I don't try to predict at all inflection points. I let one form. Like right now, there's one at 10. It's perfect. The problem is it's sweeping from 7.5 to 13, 14. But there's clearly an inflection point forming here. You have to kind of be blind not to see that. But is this a tradable inflection point? No, because we don't, look at the sweeping. And then, which way is actually thinking in bets right here? Gosh, you could argue very, very convincingly both directions. And it's actually playable in both directions is the point. And neither of them are particularly easy to think in bets. There's really not an easy way to game this right now. Other than just being, monkey-like, which is why I'm not trading it. This would be very easy to monkey trade. Every time we get a hard push down like that, it looks like, okay, that's the place to join short, and then we get sweeps up instantly after that. So, if you were putting a position on here at 12.25, you've got to give it 15 as risk. And, and you don't even know if necessarily, that's a good position. It's not telegraphing anything yet. So again, I really like waiting until we get B period and see if we can get a B to A, because that would be predictable. A B to A today would be predictable. And there goes the potential. God, look at these sweeps, and then just stops. So, these are large positions that are sweeping the book, and they don't care if they're sweeping the book because they're getting flat or they're getting a position put on or they're hedging. Whatever they're doing, that's why you're seeing these big sweeps. The book is thin, and there's large trades being executed against a thin book. All right, this time I will not let my coffee go cold, so I'm going to go get it before it does. The last time I tried to do this when I was multitasking, this was day before yesterday. Every now and then this happens. So I thought I had quickly got the coffee ready to go and came back to continue my class. And then when I went to get the coffee, I had forgotten to put the coffee cup under the coffee brewer. So I had coffee all over my counter. It was pretty fun. I did not do that today, though. Did you see that beautiful full moon this morning, JVC? I don't know if you were up early enough, but
I didn't, but funny you mentioned that because last night, long before I turned in, because I stayed up all night, but as my other
last night you had hair growing and nails were
exactly. Well, because I noticed as my other half was turning in, there was just really bright light coming in our living room window, and I thought, wow, is it a full moon tonight? And so I actually asked Alexa. Is it a full moon? And she told me that it is actually a cold moon. The full moon is in 2 days or tomorrow now, and it's a cold moon, which is a full moon in December, which I did not know. So
I didn't know that either.
Today,
what would we do without Alexa?
I know, other than stop being eavesdropped on, but you know.
Yeah. When you saw the light, weren't you thinking, JVC, we have a warrant, open the door?
No, I figured it was just the aliens back for more.
That one, there's actually a really good joke for that, but it's not for mixed company, so I'm not going to say.
I stopped where I was going with that and left it alone. So
yes, you did. Okay, so RTY and YM are making new lows, as you can see. ES made one and then came back. Again, it is really sweepy. We touched 5, blew through 5, traded 3.5, and now we're trading back at 8.5. If you think you can trade this, you're deluding yourself. If you're making money, you're getting lucky. This is not predictably tradable. It's just not. So again, if you're all excited about how much money you're making and how good a trader you are, you're resulting. You have been lucky. This is not a predictable move to trade. Again, if you were short of 20 and you're down here, you're profitable, but you're lucky because it's sweeping all over the place. So I'll be real interested to see B period and to see 4,600 if and when we get there. That could be very interesting. But again, I'm just not in a hurry to get in front of this. Fantastic, Amy. Good job. Yeah, the book is really thin. I'm reposting your comment. Good job on all the funded accounts. I know a bunch of people got funded this week, so that's cool. That's from Amy that I just posted. Cool, Jeff. Thank you. Yeah, this is really good practice for sitting on your hands when the conditions are like this, because it looks like, again, you could have concluded that you're a genius with your short trade here, and you're not. You're luckily in the right spot of it. And that was kind of predictable, but not with any significant, odds. So, all right, now we're getting down to 4,600, the big fat whole number. And that's going to be really interesting because remember, we have a weak low there and we are right on top of it. So how it handles that, does it just clean that up or does the bottom fall out? That's the question. If the bottom falls out, I am shorting a bounce. If it just cleans that up, I'm going to get long with it. That's my ideas. This footprint's kind of useless here, so let's just we'll watch these instead. These are, again, the 1 minute bar by bars. I'm qualifying my LRCs. That's all I'm doing with these. Is that low holding? Is it getting bought? Like right now, that one did. It got bought nicely, and we're price rejecting. Could it take out this? Yes, it can. So there's a really good long, and it's still a long for now. So that's the way that I watch these. It helps me understand how it's dealing with the range. 1 minute is I think ideal, but I've been playing around with 30 seconds to a minute, and with these at 15 seconds, my LRC ones below the DOMs, I never change those, but not anymore. I used to. 15 seconds with 40 and 20 LRCs is perfect geometry for these conditions. You get a really clear idea. Like right now, we are attempting to reverse and go up at the very bottom of the range where it's been an ebb and flow since 640. And you can see the whole story across the indexes just by looking at those four images. And then this qualifies how that's happening, how aggressively the buyers are. And so far, this is a decent low here. This could hold. Very interesting spot. Let's go back to the 30-minute and see if it's readable yet. If I can find it. EP, that should be it. Yeah, okay. Nope. Let's see this on 15 minutes. Maybe it'll be a little readable because that one big drop won't be there. Yeah, okay. So I moved out to 15 minutes just to get an idea what the low looks like because you can't see it on 30. And now there's a zero print there. That's interesting. So a good solid bounce. Let's see if this gets going. It could be the long of the year. Anyway, going back to 30 minutes on this guy. And again, it's going to be not readable, but we can at least see the range. The bottom is not clear. It's 67 by 0 is what it is. And just like that, look at this air pocket above us from here to 20. This is why the short from 20 wasn't genius. It was luck. If we air pocket our way back to 20, that wouldn't shock me at all here. I don't want to be long it because the risk is too high, but it's a very interesting idea right here if it can clear. Certainly if it clears 15, goodbye. But here it comes. Okay, so this 10 to 20 trade long is a very interesting idea. Under less sweepy conditions, I would take that trade. I would trade long from 12.5 to 17.5. And that still might work again, but it's just too hard to execute properly with risk management. So if I did it and it worked, I would consider it lucky. I wouldn't consider it a great trade. Well. See that there's definitely an inflection point at 12.5. And remember, the last one was at the other end of the range down there at 5. It tested to 3.5, held 5, and came up here. So this is a very interesting potential long. I'm tempted to do it with a micro here, but again, I'll talk about it and I might do it. But again, as long as 12.50, 10 holds here, 10 to 12.50 is what I mean, then we could have definitely a run to 17.5 or 20. It's both getting absorbed and it's potential to get puked. That's my point. So if that absorption gets puked, look out. 20 is going to come really fast. That's pretty much how we got down here from 20. So I feel like this really wants to go up. I'm tempted to play it with a micro, and I'm going to. Let's just play it to 16 here, just to see if that idea was right. Looks like it is. Boom. Okay, 6 ticks. So the idea is good, but again, I'm not willing to throw a lot of size at it because it's too sweepy. But buying 12.50 area makes sense. So there and there, if it holds, it holds. If it doesn't, it's really easy to get out of the way. That's a really asymmetric inflection point right now. Yeah. See, now we're at 18. So that idea worked, but risk management would be tricky. You got to get in at the right spots. Right? Then we're at 21 again. Oh, we're going to take out those zero prints. They're right above us here. So if we take those out and get back up in here, this could be the spot to short 25, or it could be a wicked long. Let's see what happens. Okay, there's the zero prints. We got them. God, this is really sweeping a lot. Mostly up now, but not tradably. There's a down sweep. There's another. Whoa! There. Okay, that was a 3.12 tick down sweep. So again, you just can't stake out a direction here. A good entry on a long is a good trade. I like 10 to 12.50 on a long again if it holds, but we're too far away from it now to even be thinking about it. So let's see if we can get some more clarity. That was a fun little scalp, though. Again, I should have had more size on and held it longer, but the idea worked. Again, when I'm not being aggressive, that's all I'm looking for. Are my ideas working? Am I reading the market properly? That's what practice is all about. The rookie trader is going, God damn it, I didn't buy 10, 12, and now it's 23, and I just gave up 10 points. That's what rookies are thinking. Pros are saying, yeah, I'm reading it right. Let's continue to look for opportunities and be cautious because this is tricky stuff. Learn to think that way, not the other way. Yeah, I don't want to do anything till I see. The B to A here could be really interesting because look, so this is A period here. The low is, the low of the day, 025-ish, 02, and the high is 33 and a quarter. So, God, right now it looks like B could be taking out the high. So that might, the B to A might be a really nice long to take out 33. We'll see. It might do that before we get to the B period. We still have 8 minutes and it's already doing that. So, go figure. This is classic witching day volatility. I'm tempted to buy it again here. I like that idea. Let's see if we can get low enough that it's relatively low risk to get long. The bottom of this high volume node is one spot right here. If this holds, it's not a bad spot, but boy, it's directional, but we're pushing the edge of the range pretty hard here across the board. They're all, so I don't know. You could argue for a long there, but it's a tricky spot. Here is good at the moment. So is here. So let's see if I can get a fill there. And if it drops below, I'm wrong. And if I might get a good long entry here. I think it's going lower, but we'll let that one fill just for fun. See what happens. Okay, it did. Let's see if we can catch some ticks on it. So I'm profitable. Boom. All right, we got another 6 ticks. I'll take them. So again, not getting rich, but my read is good. I'm seeing the inflection points. That's all you want to be. Be at peace with yourself and your read. But beyond just picking off little scalps like that, when I see a good little spot to nibble, I just don't see any reason to trade this aggressively. This is the kind of day that if you do a bunch of these little scalps and you start getting cocky and scaling up, that's the trade it's going to just crush you on and blow your day. I see traders do that over and over again because they're not mindful the conditions are changing. Like right now, 22 is no longer a buy. It was a second ago and I made money, but now it's not. That inflection point went and now that trade's off. And you have to be able to reprogram yourself that quickly. That long is no longer in play. Now it's a either way inflection point at 22. Could go down, could go up, and I wouldn't even put a bet on it. 50-50. So I hope this is useful. I'm just spewing my read as I see it. Another really important point about your psychology of talking to yourself is is understanding how important it is not to convince yourself of a bias. A lot of people do that. I was having a conversation with a guy on Facebook on the UProfit site who's doing that. He's like, yeah, no, I'm predicting which way I can read the market. And he's just setting himself up to get crushed. And he's doing a decent job trading right now. And that's the point. As long as you don't get stupid and let your ego take over, if your read is good, that's what you should be telling yourself. Your reader is good at the moment, and not what he's doing, which is, I'm able to predict direction of the market, and that's why I'm doing so well. That's not what's happening. You are not predicting it. Anyway, so 5 more minutes till we get B, and now we're back at 12 again, the last inflection point I liked. So I don't know. Would I nibble here? It's the bottom of the range. It's not a horrible idea, but B period could open and totally change things. So for that reason, I'll go ahead and give it 5 more minutes. But this is an interesting spot to nibble long again if it holds. 10 to 12. You got to give it a lot of room. It's not one price level. It's a bunch of them together. It's this entire high volume node. And there it goes. Okay, so that one's off. Now 5 and 0, 0 are back in play. And would I be short? No, too much risk. The sweeps are too big like that. Yeah, we're getting 8, 10 tick sweeps both ways in 500, in less than a second. That's 500 milliseconds, that blue and red. So yeah. The algorithms that are trading this are faster than we are, and keeping up would not be something I want to try. Not right now. Cool, Jeff. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback always. It's, training virtually like this, you never know what anyone, people are listening, if they're asleep, if it's valuable. So I always appreciate feedback. I'm one of those teachers that, contrary to the rest of my personality, where I'm pretty confident and sure of myself, and I know my weaknesses and strengths. When it comes to teaching live, I err very much on the side of I constantly want to do better and more. So feedback's always helpful. That's just the perfectionist in me. It's interesting when I'm doing it one-on-one, face to face, which I was doing week before last with CK. It's so much easier to communicate, and you can't even virtually, with cameras, you can't get that, where you can just tell if somebody's understanding you or not. And, you can read their body language, and that's just so important for teaching. And, of course, Zuckerberg says, well, the way we're going to fix that is with Meta. It's like, yeah, bite me. I'm going to wear a 12-pound headset. Not going to happen. Not right now. When you can build it into my glasses, we'll talk. Even the Facebook, the CEO or the president, whatever, is saying, yeah, I got to take off my headset to sip coffee in the earnings call the other day. It's like, really, what does that thing actually weigh, JVC, your Oculus? They're pretty heavy, aren't they?
No, not at all. They're very, very light.
Well, in your point of view, it's light.
I actually added a whole bunch of weight to mine to
what's light?
What's that?
What does it actually weigh? Tell me what the.
I don't actually know the number. I'll look it up. Hold on. Yeah. Let's find out.
Because on your head, on your neck, up at the top of your head, if something weighs even, half a pound, the stress on your neck is like 10 pounds.
Mm-hmm. Mine is 503 grams, and I added a USB power brick to the back to balance it a little bit better. I also added a fancy head-mounted thing with headphones attached and everything like that to make it more like a helmet, but it's when it's on, I don't even notice it. It's really comfortable.
Interesting. I tried one of those ones where you lie down, and I really like that approach.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
found one?
A friend of mine has one.
How cool!
Yeah, he's a VC, and he's involved with a firm that's building some of those headsets technologies, and they develop components of it for the manufacturers, and they're in stealth startup right now after a very quiet A series round. And we happen to be in the same city, so I was able to go over and try it. It's very cool. And I won't go into a lot of details, but for certain applications of virtual reality, it's extremely cool.
Mm-hmm. Very unique take on it.
Yeah. The first place that they expect to make money, no surprise, is with virtual sex. Just if you haven't already figured that out.
Oh, yeah.
That, porn is the most profitable and the only profitable since day one of the internet sector. Porn was profitable the day the internet launched and has always been. And so, as much as we might have morality another way, that always drives, particularly with virtual technology and virtual reality. That's been driving it for a long time. What was that noise?
It was it's time to take out the trash alarm.
Okay. Literally take out the trash, or like clear your screen?
Yes, literally take out the trash.
Yeah,
it's Friday. It's trash day.
Yeah, mine was yesterday. In the storm, I put my trash in the can, and it was raining so hard. The can filled with water, even though the lid was on it. No. And the poor guy was stopping at each house and trying to pick up these to put them on the little lifter thing. The guy slides it over, and the can must have weighed 200 pounds. And and this is a buff guy. He's struggling with it. I was like, God, imagine having to do that at every house for 8 hours.
Brutal.
I have a lot of respect for anybody that can do physical work like that. And you watch these guys, they're like ballet, how they interact. There's where I used to live, the guy who drove the truck was also the guy that loaded the cans on it in Montecito, and he was amazing. I mean, that guy. And then later, I gave him a Christmas present, and I was talking to him before I moved. And I said, God, you guys are really good at this stuff. And he said, thank you. And I said, do they pay you well? He said, yeah, someone like me, an operator that works solo like this, I'm paid really well. And I said, would you mind sharing with me what, he said, before bonuses and overtime, $50 an hour. I was like, whoa, good for you. But the guy here that was trying to lift up the 200-pound, he's like at $20 an hour. So that's not true everywhere. Well, it looks like we are establishing a base down here, doesn't it? B period just started. We have a price rejector. A period is only a few ticks away, the low, but it looks like it may want to hold here. JVC, what do you think of this? Isn't this interesting? I'm going to look at, you know what? Let's look at the session chart. I may switch screens back to look at. Let's just see if there's anything. So, wow. All right. On the session, we are below min delta significantly. It's all the way up at 23, right below that big delta right there. It's right below there. See? So, basically this is sellers are running the market, but boy, I don't know if I'd want to sell it down here. What are you thinking, JVC? Anything you would add to that?
The low is clearly wanting to get challenged, but yeah. I don't really like what I'm seeing because where would I enter?
Yeah, exactly. Where would you enter this? As it gets right on the ledge, it might be worth getting short, like right down here, but God, you could just get wickedly reversed all the way up to 12. Yeah,
that's the problem. There's some delta to lean on right here, right now. But if it moves up 5-6 ticks, you got to get the hell out of the way, and it could sweep so far past that before you even know what happened.
And there's a zero print up there at 12.5. That's the high volume node. If you look over here on my dome, and here we are. It's heading that way. So this is. I like the idea of a long down here. If it can clean this low up and B takes out A, that's a very interesting idea for a long. Let's watch that, see if we can get that set up. It's trying to price rejector on the pullback and failing, but it's tried a few times. You can see the pullback is all on the buy side. Look at that. So danger to be short down there because this is what's facing you is all that pullback buying. So that's the min delta. And that's the zero print. Boy, if we get back up there, that could be interesting. But right now, got to be really picky with where you're taking trades here. Otherwise, you just could end up getting swept, by 10 points, literally. Like that. Wow, look at that. So the zero print is now fixed. That solved that problem. Now, is it a short? God, no, it's just too sweep risky. If anything, I'd like longs lower down than I like shorts here. I think it probably will take out the low, and that I think is unless it's just overwhelmingly aggressive, I might nibble long down there for the holiday. A miso trade with a micro, a couple of them maybe. Oh, I'd love to see it come down there and take that out and have a wicked high volume reversal. That would be perfect. Set up the Santa Claus rally. Now that all the options holders are broke, we can start over, sell them some more premium, and then screw them going the other way into Christmas. It's so funny when you characterize it that way. It's mechanical, but that's how it's being done. And if you say something like that on Twitter or Facebook, the kids come out of the woodwork with it's manipulation. They're doing that. No, it's just good traders doing good trades, and that's how it works. Like there's collusion. They took out my stops. No, they didn't. Your stops are in a stupid spot. That's why they got hit. They don't care about your stops or where they are. Where does an elephant sit? Anywhere it wants. That's interesting. So there's MBO sitting at the low on the sell side. Yeah, Mike, the Montecito one, he has one of those scoopers. That's how one guy can drive the truck. But sometimes they have to turn the cans to line them up with the little rakes, and in that neighborhood, they don't fine you. But in my friend Sue's neighborhood in Tacoma, if your can's facing the wrong way, if it's not packed right, they actually take pictures and they bill you. And they have the forklift things too. But again, if the can's facing the wrong way, and a lot of people, don't pay attention to that, then the guy has to still come out. So that was the $50 an hour guy, was that he was alone with a forklift like that. And he could drive the truck up the street while he's flipping all these cans around and running back up to the cab. And it blew my mind just how procedural he was. That's why I went out and talked to him. I'd seen him that way for 3 years. So, and also this guy, here's the other thing they do down there, which is amazing. This is Marburg, is the trash company. People that have, a lot of these fancy houses, the cans aren't down on the street. They're in some sort of little hutch off the street. And the guy would go up and open the hutch and bring him down the street for people. I mean, while he's driving the truck, I'm mind-boggling. And do it a one-man crew. This was in Montecito, southern Santa Barbara. Marburg is a monopoly for all the waste management down there. So we are testing the lows. So far, we cannot take it out, but sure, the B to A trade right now has to be B taking out the A low. And if that's the case, that's a weak break is a really good idea for a long down there, I think, even though we're not at IB time yet. Anywhere from like 45, 95 up, if it gets bought, I think is a very interesting long under these conditions. Oh, you know what we haven't done? Let's go look at the internals again. Now is a good time. Excuse me. All right, down volume significant, but relatively, the day is just starting. Advanced decline did bounce. You can see nicely, but, it's certainly a long way from zero. And what's going on in tick land? Tick is up, but cumulative tick is trending down weekly. Nothing like, some other days when we've seen really strong downs like that. That's what a really strong down looks like in the cumulative tick. And likewise, that's what a lot of aggressive down volume or up volume looks like. And we're just not there yet, but it could be, going that way. You can see there's a little bit of green there. So, right now it's up volume as the advanced decline works its way up too. So internals are saying exactly the same thing as what the structure is saying. If this low holds, it could be an interesting long. It doesn't have the energy of the bottoms falling out yet. That cumulative tick is a really good example that we're just not hitting really huge extremes of selling. And if you don't understand the tick, just Google it. But it's basically, just take everything. If it's going up, it gets 1. If it's going down, it gets -1, and you're just netting it out. That's what you're doing. Take literally every stock in whatever exchange or market. I use the tick for the NYSE, which is the entire New York, not just the big caps. It's everything. So that gives you a really good idea of what's being bought and sold. Oh, it's on the buy side. Okay, thanks, Jeff. Yeah, again, this is looking like it could be a tasty long if it quiets down, but I'm tempted to nibble here again. This spot's holding. What the heck? Let's try one. So I'm long 8, and again, I just hit the market just for fun because it looked like this level was holding. So let's see if we can now watch. Of course, it'll take out the low right when I did that because I did that, but I'm still thinking I might have a little long here. Let's see if we can grab 6 ticks out of it. Maybe lean on the low here, right there. I'm just playing around now because I'm bored. Don't do this. If you're a newer trader, it will cost you too much money. But this is actually a decent monkey. Yeah, this isn't really a monkey. I'm actually testing an idea of risk management I've been playing with. When there's a 1 bar on an IP low, like a quarter like that, the bar is right on 5. So that's the spot I really want to buy, and I'm kind of playing around with it. This is just something I've been playing around with the micros on. So like right there is the perfect spot if this idea works to add to it, and you'll see in a minute. It might work without that, and I can get some profit, but that's the range it's trading. So, and it's trading it aggressively both ways. So, okay, we got filled on that. So now I think this will work or it won't. The lows may go and I'll get out of the way, but if the lows hold, this is a profitable trade. We'll take profits faster on both of them. This is how it's like me being a market maker. This is how I work myself into the market if I'm nibbling. It's not monkey JVC. Monkey would just be, oh, that's a long, boom.
Yeah.
My monkey's completely different. It's not a 2 lot in the micros. It's a 20 lot in ES. That's my monkey. But this is actually a defendable idea here that I'm doing. It's just I got to give it a lot of room, but it certainly could work. Watch, YM's about to break its low. What are you gonna say?
Oh, your monkey's name is King Kong.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah, I think this low is probably going to go, but I still think it might be an interesting long when it does. So we'll just kind of play with the micros here. You can see now the liquidity guy's right where I'm trying to exit. So they're thinking we're going to push down is what that means. Oh, I wasn't at the Q&A. I don't know if that got explained properly, what the liquidity guys are. I heard there was a question about that, and I was offline because of the storm. Did that get answered, JVC?
I didn't really go into a whole bunch about whether it's liquidity providers or not, because the question was about, it wasn't clear on whether he was looking at micros or ES. Oh, okay. And it sounded like ES, but it didn't look like ES. So we were a little confused on what exactly was being looked at. but he talked to it.
Okay, cool. All right, you know what? Let's scoot one of those up a bit in case we get a sweep up. We'll make a little more money. I was trying to get out of it quickly just so we could end that trade, but again, I'm willing to give this a little bit of room just because I'm testing this idea. So that's the inflection point at 5, and now we're below it. So from here down, it should be a short if it doesn't sweep up above 5. And again, I disregard that I have a trade over here. I'm not really worried about that. I'm just watching this action, and that's something I've been watching how it interacts with very short-term high volume nodes in a range, which is what I'm talking about. So if 5 gets puked, I'll get filled. That's my point. Puked up, obviously. If we take out the low, I might add to this. Again, I think this is going to be a weak low because it looks like there's absorption right there, that big negative delta. That looks like sucking them up. But again, it might not be. Or it might change when we hit it. All right, so there's your B to A. It barely took it out by, 3 ticks? So you could have traded that. Back up from the 0 print would have been a good trade. But yeah, there's some movement. Let's try this one more time here, I think. Nope, it got sold there. Give it a little more room again. Yeah, no, I'm pretty far off sides now. And there's the sweep. Okay, now it should get bought. If it doesn't, I got to get out of the way because it's going to go lower. So if that sweep doesn't bring in the buyers, then I'm off sides. And now we've got an accumulate. We've got somebody selling right here at 1.5. So let's get out of the way. And we can always re-enter this idea if it works. And it's probably going to work now that I got out of the way. But we'll watch it. Okay, there's 95. This is the spot I really like for this idea. So I'm going to nibble along there and see if we can really catch that extreme. So I've got 2 at 96.5 here. And again, I'm willing to add to this as long as this high volume reversal holds that has reversed so far. So far, so good. If we even just get back to 5, this is a wicked good trade. I do want to get a stop under it here once I get a little bit of space to do so. So it's not letting me do it. So now I just threw another one on and we'll try to just catch it the other way. Trying to just scale into this. There we go. Okay, so now we're profitable on the first one and we've got some traction. So now I can protect it a little better. Let's throw some targets up just so this is going to move too fast to try to catch runners. Okay, so I'm long 97 now. And again, I'm giving it lots of room, but the idea is that we are high voluming reversing down here and not losing the low. If we lose the low, I'll get out of the way, obviously. And that could be about to happen. Could sweep down right now. Could also sweep up right now. Yeah, it looks like they're going to sell it. Okay, yeah, we're going to go down some more, I think, but I'm going to give it a beat. This is the beauty of the micros. You can the MISO idea, you can, if you just assess the cash risk of the distance you want to go and nothing else, forget the price action. It's too crazy. That's how you can think in bets with micros. That's what I do when I do these little kind of nibbling things that I talk about. It's my MISO trade. It's using the micro as an option, basically, is all I'm doing here. Because otherwise, how would you manage a mini and to a $30 loss? That you just can't. It's just moving around too much. Every tick is $12. Every point's 50. Yeah. So anyway, will this hold here? It looks like it's trying really hard, but not convincing me that it's holding yet. There's still UB down there at the bottom. So we're probably not done going down, but we'll see. Let's watch this instead. 93 still. God, I'm so tempted to play more here. Nope, not yet. Yeah, no, it's a little weaker than I want to see right here. I think I'm going to get out of the way. Yeah, we'll get out of the way. God, something's wrong with my platform. That's weird. The database is all messed up. I got to restart Jigsaw, guys. Something's wrong with my database here. It's giving me all kinds of weird numbers that don't make sense. So hang on a second. I'm going to do that. We're almost at the end of the session anyway, but let's see. Nice, playing NQ. Good job, Andrew. Yeah, that's a tricky one under this kind of motion. All right, let's see. We get Jigsaw back up here so I can play a little more, but I have no idea what it's actually doing in my account because the numbers are all messed up. Okay, now I can see it. There it is. All right. Let that reload. All righty, anyway. If anybody has any comments or questions, we're going to wrap up right at the bottom of the hour in about 13 minutes. So I'm still looking for a potential long here, but I'm not going to be real aggressive. At the moment, it's going down, and it hasn't shown what was a nice spot for the high volume reversal. A couple of points up right in there at 95 got sold. So for now, we just have to assume it's either down or it's going to be range bound down here before I see a lot of buying. I would have to see a lot of buying before I would step back in. So I don't know if I would trade short here. Someone just asked me that. Probably not. Again, if it continues to be aggressive, I might look for a place to join short. But I think most of the down is winding down. Again, that's just kind of my take. But it doesn't feel aggressive enough to totally hit the. All right. In other words, let me put this into English instead of just babbling. Look. Here's the TPO view. And we cleaned up that weak low. And now we're in a massive area that we bounced off of before, the last time we bounced. So this is a really interesting spot to watch. And this was kind of the spot I was playing into with my longs. And now we get to see it, without any lead. It's right here at, call it 90 to 97. It's down here. And let's just watch it and see if it holds. It's an interesting long, but I may or may not take it. Let's see. Get one right there. Might be good. That's a low risk spot. Can't get filled. All right. Let's try this one more time. High volume node trying to form. We've got people on the bid. If it can hold this area, we have a lot of upside potential. There we go. Okay. So that's working now. I'm long 93. It's 95. It's 96. Okay. Let's protect this. And so I got stops at 95 to take profits. We'll see if we can get a runner here and really get this going. But there, okay, that's good. Took one off at 96, still have one. Now I'm from 92.5. You know what? I'm going to not protect that. I'm just going to let that go. I think this could get going. So why lock in $20 when we have potential for a whole lot more here as long as this low holds? I might even add to this again. Okay, I put on another one. Now I'm at 94 average. I've got two. Now we'll take one off on a pop, say to 98. That way we can take profits. 97.5 is a better spot. Here it comes. So my long's finally working. Only took 3 tries, but that's okay. That's not unusual either. Come on, I want to get this one off so we can get a runner. Boom. Okay, now we got one from 95. We put a bunch of profits in the bank. We covered up our previous stop outs, and so now we can let this run, see if it goes anywhere. Or, look, it can go all the way down to the low, and I'm still profitable. This is when I scale in and out. This is the net of all the trades I've done since I was flat. So we're in a really good spot here to trade this, add to it, any of the above. So I might add to it down here, 93.5, maybe 92.5 area. There's a couple of liquidity guys down there. So let's see if we can throw one more on. Assuming throw more on. As long as the low doesn't go, I think that's a legitimate idea right now. This is trying to hold the lows, so let's let it try. If it does, great. If it doesn't, we'll get out of the way. And I will add to this right here with another one if it gets there. Actually, you know what? Looking at that high volume node, I think I'd rather add right there, a little bit higher up. And I might take a market order here if it really gets going up. If it comes down, I've got room. I'm profitable in here, so I'm not in a hurry to get out of the way. That's why I took the take profit stop off. It's building a nice high volume node. Okay, now we got filled on that one. Put a target up again to take one off. This is trading long around a core. That's what I'm doing. So I'm taking profits and then buying pullbacks. My favorite style to trade the micros is what I'm doing right now, because it allows you to have all the range. You know, if you try to do this in ES, you would be taking way too much dollar risk, but the micros allow you to do the game and scale in at the right spots and scale out. And again, the only thing you really do wrong is overscaling at the wrong spot. And that's another learned skill, you know, leaning on volume and leaning on deltas. And I'm going to take that one off there. Okay, so we took profits again. Now we're long from 93.75 average. We put $40 in the bank on this trade so far. I'll take it. Looks like, boy, but Jigsaw is still messed up on the P&L. What the heck is wrong? It's only showing one trade, and I've done a bunch of trades. I don't get that.
Wrong account somehow, maybe?
No, I'm using a default template that is, so it can't really have the wrong numbers in it unless there's just a code glitch. Yeah, that fixed it. Whoa. Yeah, this is the same problem. Jigsaw has a problem with whoever he's paying to do his window location tool and his remembering, you know, setups under saved names. That was the problem. My default and my doc are the same template for my positions window, but for some reason it reset the default back to what he uses in Jigsaw, and that it does stuff like that every now and then, and that's just, you know, not unusual for code that's in development. This is still the beta, but that was weird. I've never seen that one before. All righty, so let's see. The longer we stay down here and accumulate, the better my long's going to be here, because the shorts are going to get more and more nervous. So this is going to be for the one lot now, we're in good shape. We've got, almost $50 more in the profit here, and I'm letting it rock and roll a little bit. I might take profits and start a new trade here, because this is starting to consolidate both ways. And I just reset my P&L if I do that. Otherwise, it sometimes gets a little confusing. Yeah, you know what? Let's just flatten it out and take profits, and then we can put on a new trade and watch the P&L. So we'll go ahead and try to get long here somewhere. Whoa, it bounced on me and I couldn't get a fill. It wants to go up. I'll take 95. I tried 94.75, couldn't get a fill. Might have to take a market order here. Come on. Wow. There we go. Finally got a fill at 95. Trying to get another one at 92.75. It's getting very sweepy both ways here. It might be about to go down, so I'm mindful of that before I scale too much into it. Okay, now we've got two, average 94. I don't want to see this low go, and I'm probably going to protect some of the profit on this because it's working this range pretty aggressively. So let's just do that. We'll take profits at the other end of the range. Well, we are almost at the end of the session. I like what's going on here. This could break either way really hard right now. I think I'm about to get filled on my first one. And I did. So now we're in good shape. We're long from 92.75. Let's protect that with a stop at 94.25. That's about to get hit. Yep. All right. Well, you put another $12 in the bank. I'll take it. But obviously, every time I try to nibble on the predictable push downs, it doesn't fill me. I'm right on the right price, but it doesn't fill me. And then when we get a sweep, I get filled lower down, which is hard to interpret what that means right now. Lots of two-way action here. God, I feel like we could just rip up. I want to be long this. There it goes. God, that's just a gut. I have to be long when I see that happening. All right. Well, we got a decent entry on that pop, but it didn't really go that far. I still think it has traction, so I'm gonna stay on the long side here. Try to maybe get another one. We'll scoot that guy up. Maybe get a fill there. But again, I don't want too much size here because the potential for the bottom to fall out remains. And that's where you would get off, caught offside with a lot of size. And as I've said, that's not a good idea. I'm protecting some of this here if we clear 0-0, look out, this could go skyrocketing. So I don't want to get too tight. I want to be able to let it do that, but I don't want to give any of my profits back like I'm about to. So tricky management. Okay, now I'm take profit at 99. God, if we can just clear 1 or 2 here, this could be at 10 in seconds. So I really want to let it do that. but I don't want to give back my profits. There we go. Okay. There's the ripper I've been trying to get all morning, and we got it. Hello. All right. Long from 96, trading 3.5. Again, always wish you had more on. When you moron, I wish you had more on. More size on, you moron. All right. We got to fill up there. That was sweet. Back to profitability now, despite our errors. Having fun. Yeah, it's been a very strange day, Andrew, across the board. There's nothing not strange about this. That's why I'm just playing around in micros and having fun. This is my bag of quarters. I've said over and over. This is how I keep my monkey from going crazy and how I stay sane. On any given day, I'll invest $100 in playing with, micro nibbles like this. Because the worst case is I lose $100, and the best case is, some days I make 1,500 on those ideas. So it's a good way to keep your skills sharp and to understand. It helps me practice my focus on reading the action, the short-term action, which is, kind of my bubba. So as hopefully you've seen, I love the structural approach, the kind of Lee approach that's more measured, but it is not well suited for my demeanor and my energy. So that's why I have to use that contextually and trade price action. But as JVC pointed out, very, very important not to get monkey-like with that. It's easy to do that if you're inexperienced. Okay, so 2 minutes out. Burning desires going once. Any questions, comments? Good session so far. Yeah, invest $100 in play. Exactly, Jeff. I call it a bag of quarters. It's like going to the arcade with a bag of quarters. If nothing else, I'll have fun. And trading is supposed to be fun. And, when I'm trading for money all the time, it's work. And I like work, but I also like fun. So and I've said this in every boot camp we've ever done, I give myself permission to do 4 things. One of them is just play. Another one is to do R&D. There's times you work in sim. There's times you work with micros and your real money. There's times, that you just do R&D. And I do that a lot in evaluation accounts. I've been doing that for 2 weeks. I've spent a decent amount of money on small evaluations, working on some new risk management that's really paying off. And that's how I'm measuring myself, is by, I'm investing $80 in little combines and, making it a measurable event. It's R&D. That's an $80 investment in making a trade setup more accurate. And that's how I look at that. And then, I've got a couple that are going to get funded or have been funded, and my trade copier working on that over there, but those are evaluator things. I'm not doing any of that with my cash accounts. But I'm starting to think about it. Somebody asked me about this real quickly. So I did check with Iron Beam, and a couple of you had asked me if I had found out the answer to this, and I have. If you want to run multiple accounts with Iron Beam, they're pretty much similar to how the other ones are doing it. The bottleneck is that Rithmic charges a fee to do the sub accounts like that, and the brokers are passing it along. And so, if you're going to have real cash accounts, I'm not talking about with the evaluators, and you want to trade multiples, it's $150 fee a month from Rithmic to set up sub accounts. So just so you're aware of that. If anybody has found different, let me know. But that's what Mike told me yesterday at Iron Beam. Okay, so cool. All right, would I play the minis today? Not here because it's just too much movement. I'd rather play 5 micros and have more discretion as to where I put the 5 to getting to like a half a mini. But no, anytime I'm seeing 4 tick sweeps like that, I get very concerned about trading the minis, Andrew, simply because even a good idea, one sweep and my good idea, cost me $100, and that I don't consider, the bag of quarters at the arcade. The bag of quarters at the arcade is, playing around with small wins and losses. I could make that $100 last all day, going up and down, and I'm practicing with it and practicing with real money and getting a feel for that. And that's different. But no, I wouldn't do it under, here's my little structure reminder. I wouldn't do it under these conditions. If it quiets down a little bit, it could be great. God, if you caught a long off that low, in the minis instead of the micros, you could make some wicked money. But you're subjecting yourself to at least 8 to 10, 12 ticks of sweep risk at any moment. And that's significant. That kind of blows the model. So that's why I wouldn't do it. All right. We're done. Burning Desire's last call. Any final questions or comments? It's getting volatile again, right around 00, which is a good time to stand aside. And, again, this is a great long down here if the lows hold. And if it really gets going up, it's also a good long. But right now, it's not a good anything. It's not a short. It's not a long. It's a sit on your hands and go get more coffee. All right. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it. Andrew, Robert, Alfredo, makes my day. Literally, I say that. People say, yeah, everyone says that. No. Good feedback actually makes my day. I get up in pain every day. So any day good things happen is a good day. So thank you. I appreciate it. All right. We're out of here. Thank you, JVC.
No problem. Thanks.
And we'll see everybody Sunday for the reopen. It's going to be a wicked good reopen. You're going to want to be there. That could be the start of the Santa Claus rally, depending on what happens today. So definitely you're going to want to be at Sunday if you can. All right. Have a good weekend, guys. Thank you, Maria's Expensive Fruit. I'll have to ask more about that privately. Thanks, Don. Bye-bye.